FemConnect provides easier access to women's health products and services using technology. Technology allows us to also match donors with girls that are looking for sanitary pads, or for the girls to request sanitary pads using our website and our mobile app. Women can also purchase feminine hygiene products and also get access to digital family planning services online, the same way we order food. So we deliver to them at their doorstep without them having to physically go to a doctor. We started FemConnect with a mobile app where we used it as a testing ground to see whether there would be a need or an appetite for what we're offering. And we've recently just launched our women's health marketplace/website, where women are empowered to get access to diverse contraceptives. They can do online sanitary pad donations that can be used by a family that is trying to do their family planning, can be used by any regular girl who wants to access feminine hygiene products as well.
What my idea is a WhatsApp bot that allows people to book a casual domestic worker entirely in the WhatsApp process. Person could directly from social media click on an advert and a WhatsApp chat button, send a message to the app, and it'll respond asking what the person wants to do. Do they want to book someone to help them, edit their location, or manage their accounts? If they choose to book a helper, they then get given the options of which day they want to do it on. The WhatsApp penetration in South Africa is extremely high compared to other countries, in fact. The statistics at February 2020 was that 58% of South African phone users were using WhatsApp. To compare this to other apps, Uber had 50%, YouTube 41%, and Facebook only 33%. Apps take a lot of storage space on phones, both for users and people being hired. We manage that is by having the whole process completely automated. So very minimal human interaction.
Last year, I started a project called Prejudice Dictionary. First of all, let's start with who I am. I'm a social innovator, which I guess is kind of a hybrid between a creative and a social scientist. I've always loved to dissect humanity and find creative solutions to social issues. I've studied and worked in social entrepreneurship and innovation for about 10 years, and I've done that in various capacities, but my passion has always been to unleash the magic within marginalized groups. But what really started to pain me in 2020, especially around the hashtag Black Lives Matter protests and the alarming rate of femicide in South Africa, was that, 2020, 2021 feels really late for the kinds of social unconsciousness that we're still dealing with. And I think that it's because we've allowed prejudice to become generational, which means that we're still dealing with many of the same patterns of prejudice thinking as our forefathers. So whilst in some areas we've advanced in leaps and bounds, when it comes to prejudice, we're still running on really old software, dismantling ideas in South Africa. And this is because we live in a nation of paradoxes, of things that should not be able to coexist. So we have a majority that's been treated as a minority. We have a patriarchal society that's actually very much a matriarchal society. When you think about the amount of South African homes that are headed by mothers. Prejudice, which is inherently artificial, always falls apart when there is real and authentic human connection. The second antidote for prejudice brings me to Prejudice Dictionary, and that antidote is reason. The only way that the truth is possible and visible and sustainable is if we continually spring clean our hard drives. In other words, if we when we constantly assess and update our patterns of thinking and our patterns of reasoning. Now, I can't think of a better way to achieve that than with a dictionary.
The name Eve's Apple, which is a feminine voice, which is more restorative, tongue-in-cheek kind of tone, because also I think the world is only now figuring out what feminism actually is. And so we know the importance of verifiable information, and also our visuals are bold, they're easily identifiable, and they're referencing, in terms of referencing, and we pride ourselves on being fairly edgy. So if you think cosmopolitan, you can also imagine why we would imagine ourselves to be a bit more edgy. And so when you think about our content, this is the type of content you would be imagining. So stuff about self-love, queerness, we care very much about healthcare and how we are able to access it, debunking all kinds of myths, and also knowing that you can have those conversations as complex as you think they might be. And we also really care about sexual pleasure, because sexual health is not just about ill health, it's also about pleasure. So let's talk about the challenges. Some of the challenges that you're experiencing, information search gaps. So it's very difficult to get images that are very much identifiable to South Africans, and one of the solutions we'll give much later is just having stock photography, so that we make sure that everyone else who's looking for similar visuals that are bold and audacious are able to find them freely. So there's that kind of conundrum. And then data costs. I mean, South Africa's data costs are really, really heavy. So how do we find a solution that kind of, either when you are on the platform, it's not as expensive?
Is a platform, is a movement, creating a movement that will inspire and motivate people, everyone from grassroots to corporate, to be part of the solution. Eververse is an inspirational movement addressing the environmental and human impact of fast fashion, reaching beyond the eco-conscious consumer to the corporate sector and retailers by collaborating with community creatives, reimagining and recycling with a uniquely South African rainbow flair. So how did this start? This is something I've been passionate about for a few years. The outfit that I'm wearing here was made by my mum, who was a garment worker in the early 60s. And she would tell stories about how they would huddle around the radio during their lunch break and listen to the Beatles when they were #1, which for me is just a precious memory. And that's what I inherited from her. That is something that I will keep with me about the past. But beyond this, it's what are we leaving behind? It's not just what we are inheriting, it's what are we leaving behind? What are we leaving behind when we are faced with the harmful effects of the fast fashion industry? And who are we leaving behind? When we think of heritage, it's not just about our family, it's about our planet. It's what will our children be inheriting from us, and our grandchildren and future generations. And this is a scene from quite a tragic event that changed the industry. It's from 2013. It's from the Rana Plaza tragedy, which killed over 1,000 female garment workers who were earning way below minimum wage and live in appalling conditions to promote recycling at a garden center. And this lady has dementia. So we have different sectors of the community, from the disadvantaged to the elderly to the disabled, that really can and want to be part of the solution. And then we have creativity. So here is how do we make this happen. We've got, on the screen, we've got fabric that can be upcycled and made into new garments. We've got furniture, things that have been discarded, much like many parts of our society that are just forgotten and discarded.
actually work with the department anti-bullying in the Free State and actually made contact with a number of parents and NGOs who's working around gender-based violence in the communities. So we always have to uncover, find more women, but our network is very strong. So at the moment, we're trying to place 6,000 young women in employment who've gone through a different kind of program with one of our partners. And so therefore, it's very important that we always link and get the NPOs to go. What we've got from our 6,000 women who've done our GBV training and our trauma support, they are working with the communities. And where we did not have NGOs, NPOs, we have just helped them. I think there were 45 of them, where we helped them to create a small CBO. Our biggest challenge is that they don't all have access to technology.